Good afternoon. This is Christina Abramian from GC3. We have breaking news just in from Cuba. The country is in turmoil due to his recent developments regarding President Raul Castro's announcement that the state is planning on laying off 500,000 state employees in an effort to boost the economy. In the last 90 years, Cuba has been a communist country. Cuba was under the Spanish colonization for almost 400 years and got its independence in May 1920. After there were problems and difficulties which ran the country into corruption. From the 1930s, the country got much of its support from the former Soviet Union Communist Party. From 1965, the only president of Cuba was Fidel Castro. He governed until July 2006, then delegated his duties as President of the Council of State, President of Council of Ministers, First Secretary of the Cuban Communist Party, and the post of Commander and Chief of the Armed Forces to his brother Raul Castro. Now, with this impactful decision to lay off workers, what might we expect to see? Now over to Aaron Zielinski.
A little island in the northern Caribbean Sea is once again in the spotlight all over the news. 500,000 state jobs are being laid to rest in the next 6 months in an attempt to strategically produce new jobs in the private sectors. Here's a little background on Cuba. Population 11 million. The size of the island 42,000 square miles, which is equivalent to Pennsylvania. According to the Cuban census, there is 65% white, 25% black, and 10% mulatto. The island has a diverse culture, most commonly practices Catholicism. However, after the revolution, Cuba became an atheistic state and the government restricts practice of religion. Now, a statement was released from a labor union official that said, quote, "Our state cannot and should not continue maintaining companies, productive entities, and services with inflated payrolls and losses that damage our economy." Now, this sounds like a positive step in the right direction for Cuba. However, certain issues are concerned and need to be addressed. And how are they going to find jobs? Certain individuals are qualified for appropriate jobs, mainly near their community. Also, as far as the U.S. is concerned, Cuba is only 90 miles away from the state. So, what if the Cubans can't find jobs? Is the U.S. going to find another mass wave of immigrants migrating towards Florida like we saw in the mid-90s? Approximately 33,000 Cubans fled to the U.S. due to suspension of trade relations with the Soviet Union. Now, I asked around, and a lot of people had mixed reviews. Mary from L.A. said, "We are already struggling to find jobs in our own country. If they come here, where are they going to find work?" Chris from Los Angeles said, "I don't think we'll see another mass wave like we saw in the 90s because Cubans will see this transition as a positive step in the right direction and will continue to work as hard as they did." I even asked a homeless guy near Skid Row, and quote, "Hopefully we can see more Cuban cigars." Others just had no comments. This is Aaron Zielinski reporting live from GC3, taking over to you, Angela.
Thank you, Aaron. To expand on the issue of migration, the severe job cuts can be expected to cause a dramatic effect in a sociological point of view. As many as 500,000 workers are expected to be left jobless, which brings up the question, what will these unemployed people do in an economy lacking prosperous job opportunities? A key point to consider is that Cuba is planning on expanding private enterprise, which will increase the number of jobs where Cubans could go into business for themselves. In one way, this can be used as an incentive for people opening and or running their own business, which is something rarely seen in a communist economy. Being in a situation where there is no job opportunities, these Cubans will be looking for other opportunities somewhere else, U.S. being a possibility. Although the economy here in the United States is struggling with a nationwide recession, Cubans may have no other choice but to seek better opportunities by migrating. These outrageous job cuts may also result in protests and great discontent from thousands of Cubans left jobless, but only time will tell. This is Daisy Favela, and now we go to anthropologist Bianca.
Thank you, Daisy. As we all know, Cuba has maintained a communist country for as long as the 1950s. We have to ask ourselves, when given in a situation as this, how will these people behave when they lose their customs? They have grown used to the government providing state jobs for one another and being supported. It's a given that Cuba is well and organized economically. Though retaining an unemployment rate as low as 1.7%, that also comes with the price of a low wage. They have maintained a poor sense of material culture and barely have the ability to provide necessities such as toothpaste. So with wages as low as they come, how are people to behave when there is no employment? Through the study of social anthropology, we know that it is human nature to change, to adapt. But in crises such as these, humans are known to cause riot and fall apart. Only through kinship will Cuba manage to pull through. Really, we can only hope for the best for the people of Cuba. Thank you.
So what people really want to know is how this is going to impact the economy. Angela Bachanan.
Thank you, Christine. These layoffs could be catastrophic to Cuba's economy, seeing as how the state controls about 95% of it. Of the 5.15 million people that make up the labor force, 90% of them are employed by the state. The reason behind the 500,000 layoffs is because Raul Castro is trying to encourage small business growth in hopes to keep its communist system and bad economy afloat. The country's current unemployment rate is 1.7% and is expected to rise due to the layoffs. The government does plan to give 250,000 permits for these small businesses to create around 120 different types of jobs that include mechanics, hairdressers, gardeners, and translators, to name a few. This may seem as if Cuba's communism is coming to an end, but Castro was recently quoted saying that Cuba is not moving towards capitalism. In fact, the government plans to tax the new businesses anywhere from 10% to as high as 40% of their profits to raise money for programs and organizations such as medical care and education. In other words, the government is short on cash and they plan on getting some more from the people of Cuba. Fidel Castro's theory is, we give you resources and you have to do what we say. This is Angela Buchanan reporting live from GC3 News. Back to you, Christine.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Christine. The responses from Cuban citizens are showing all different sorts of reactions. Cuban state employees are having mixed feelings and emotions about Castro's decision. Some are not only surprised by the decision to lay off more than 500,000 workers, but they are frustrated and concerned with what the future holds for them. Interviews with workers show that they are disgruntled. For years, they believed they were guaranteed full employment with the achievement of the revolution, and now they are confused as to how they are supposed to support themselves. One man who worked in a factory all of his life said, "It has cost me a lot to be where I am today. I am a party member, have done everything by the book. We have had many downfalls and critical moments, but at least we knew we had a secure job and a daily meal in the factory. I do not know what will be the criteria to fire people, but I am worried because of my age." Some citizens who are loyal revolutionaries are in fear because they do not know in which direction the government will go next. Ultimately, Cubans know that there are major bumps in the road ahead of them. With the uncertainty of how they will find jobs or become self-employed with the lack of skill and incentive, the workers are discouraged. However, some people choose to see positive aspects in this situation. For example, since the announcements have come, state employees have been gathering in special meetings to discuss government plans that have risen as a result of the layoffs, such as changing the retirement age, which has won the support of many of the Cubans who will be laid off. May it be fear, excitement, frustration, or anger, the psychological effects of the layoffs will be seen for years to come as the state begins to terminate employees in 2011. Thank you, Christine, and back to you.
This is
No, thank you. Thank you for tuning in.
You're not dead, are you?
Okay. Thank you, Christine. The responses from Cuban citizens are showing all different kinds of reactions. Cuban state employees are having mixed feelings about Castro's decision.
Well, I messed up. Just keep rolling. I'll edit it.
Thank you, Christine. The responses from Cuban citizens are showing all different kinds of reactions. Some are not only surprised by the decision to lay off.
Might we expect to see?
And being supported. Take the pay.
Is going to impact the economy. Angela Bachanan is
Buchanan. It's Buchanan.
That the state is planning to lay off 5,000 states in
500.
Some are not only surprised by the decision, but they are frustrated and concerned with what the future holds for them.